Hello, Hailey. How are you?
Good, coach. How are you doing?
I am doing very well. Thank you for getting on this call. And I am just excited to hear your progress of what's been going on since you graduated from BGM. So first, let me go over some things. When did you finish?
I finished technically October. That was like the end of the month. I took my test at the beginning of November and passed. So
That's right, beginning of it, because I think I remember I was out of town because I went out of town. I went to Mexico for my birthday, and I
yeah,
remember me texting you because I think that's when you was doing your practical or something. We was having a conversation about your practical. So tell me a little bit about first. Let's go over the experience of just taking the exam because you did everything online, right?
absolutely. Yes, I did. I will say I feel like my experience because that's when I was texting you and letting you know, like, so there's a lot of complications, like Wi-Fi wasn't working, a lot of technical issues. But an hour and some change later, we got that bad boy started. The exam, how do you say? The person that's observing you take the test, they were
Mhm.
very understanding, helped me through it. So even though I felt a little discouraged with it, it went smoothly once I finally started the test. And, I was really confident in all the answers and every question that they had, like for me.
Perfect. That's good. And then your practical. So it was you by yourself, or was it more than one person?
It was me and another individual. I think they do every like two per one observer.
Okay.
And so it was just on Zoom, just how we are now. And they were the ones, saying, start your, start this portion of it. And they told you at the beginning, before they even let you start it, they break it up into this is starting this portion of it, really kind of broke it down. And she was very helpful in letting you know, like, you have this much time at the end of it. So I kind of knew like my steps and what time frame I was like needing to get done.
Good. And then have you started your reciprocity?
Yes, I have. So that process is a little bit longer
Transferring
for
your license to
me.
Kansas?
Yes. Can you hear me? It kind of glitched out a little bit.
Yeah, glitched out. Sorry. So say it one more time. It's raining here, so hopefully everything will work better. But yeah, so where you at starting your process or with the process of your reciprocity?
Yeah, so it is a little bit longer just because, I had to initially get the verification from the state of Texas, and that takes, they said anywhere from 6 to like 8 weeks. Make sure,
Yes.
you got all of the applications, everything from the school sent. And so I had that sent. I just actually today got my notification saying I just need a different form of my application. They did receive it, that I'm verified, took an accredited school, and now it's just little tidbits of the need, my license as in statewide, birth certificate, nothing's changed, your high school transcripts, and those kind of things.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually technically do not accept reciprocity. That's why you being able to transfer your license is different. I knew that. But like you said, you have to have your transcript, your certificate of hours at the state from accredited school, which is our state school. So it's good to know because I know there's other people from Kansas or Missouri. Well, I know Kansas in particular, like they say they don't have it. And when I tell people that there's no reciprocity, that just means that there's just other stuff you have to do, or you might have to take their state law test or something to make sure you
Mhm.
know their state law. So I don't know, did they have you take a state law test or anything?
They haven't even done that just because they keep more or less saying that it's invalid. Just because one, obviously, I have no work experience. That's what they initially told me. Two, that they needed kind of like those little tidbits, like I said, with your birth certificate and those things they need first,
Yeah.
before I've heard anything about it. I've heard from other experience, but not my own experience, of course, that you might have to take like the sanitation portion
Yeah.
of it because Kansas is a little bit different.
Mhm.
But other than that, like with the actual exam portion, online taking it, not so much because Texas, their credit hours is higher than the state of Kansas. So
Yes.
that's kind of the difference as well.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, I knew it working like I tell everybody. It's just this is the drawn out portion because Texas still believes in
Yeah.
snail mail. I'm like, you just gotta wait for them to send you your stuff and you can't, it can't be sent ahead of time until all of the hours. It's crazy. But I'm happy that that's still not standing your way because apparently you're doing nails. And where are you doing
Yeah.
nails? Was that going?
It's good. Right now I do kind of have like a little studio outside of my home that, I just have people come in and it's just me for now, but I actually too, I'm really just waiting on this portion of it because I do have my own like building brick and mortar studio picked out. I've already talked to, the renter and everything of that. I just need my like EIN and all that good stuff, the license number for Kansas, and then I'm good to go. So I'm just literally waiting on that part. It's frustrating, but I know it's in the process of it.
Well, that's good. I mean, the patience is knowing that once it's done, and how much more you can do after that is just absolutely amazing. So,
Yeah.
your experience at BGM, I know you left a review, and I know I probably have a videotape somewhere, and of course, but from the time you entered, which I remember Hailey was so quiet. And I guess I want to hear more so like not just your experience, but like now that you've been out and you've been done, like how do you feel that we helped you with real world experience or even more?
Absolutely. So I really think I needed kind of that starting point of like the business portion of it. Like, okay, I could do nails all day long, but like the actual mapped out plan of, all right, how do I want my business model to look like? How do I want even my policies to look like? And what kind of entity do I want to like become? Because, I think of it as you kind of taught us, like, my business entity and then me personally, we might be friends, but this is my business. So that's really helped me a lot. It's kind of helped me give that voice of sternness of like, this is how it's going to go. And really just kind of thinking of all those little tidbits of really how I want things to go. I didn't really even know how to even put all that together. So real world problems, and I've already kind of got a map going.
Yeah, and it's good you made that point because I think that, well, for me, honestly, like when I'm teaching the class, where I'm teaching the business classes to the scientists, it's like a deer in the headlights. And I know, like, I know you guys don't get it because you haven't experienced it. And I always just want to know, like, okay, now that you're out there, what do you know, how are you using this information? And I know you took notes. So I know you was one of the ones that did
Oh,
take.
100%. I actually feel like, with the clients that come in my chair, I feel like now at this point in time, I'm like the educational person. I'm the one from start to finish telling them the process of, what I'm doing to the nails, like how this is like going about. And, if they've had different experiences elsewhere, I let them know this is why when you come sit in my chair, this is how it goes. And these are the reasons why. And I'm going to give you, how do I say this? Only give you so much knowledge that you understand like why this is the way it is and this is the correct way to actually do things and not.
Yeah.
And that's where I kind of like to tell my clients, before I even put the application process on your nail, there's prep work I gotta do that will, adheres well to it. And then, the aftercare, why I'm giving this education purpose for you and the tools to make your experience last longer. So, or just even the experience with me.
And how is the response from your clients when you're educating them? Because I know that they probably truly love it, but
Yeah, no, like they are really like a lot of this, they had no idea because, they come to different let's just say shops, and instead of like, having a personal nail tech, and I get a lot of response of like, oh wow, like they never do this with me. They never do this to my nails. I never knew that. And I understand the reasons why. And oh, this experience doesn't hurt. Like, a lot of that's where I feel like the actual care I've got good reviews on is just to make sure like they're comfortable too.
I think that is so important, and I'm so happy to hear that, because I know when just me being a teacher, I would just automatically educate my clients, is because that's just that I was always in
Right.
teacher mode. So when I would
Right.
hear my clients like, no one's ever told me that before, I would be like, really? Like I
Yeah.
assumed that
Yeah.
everyone was doing it, but realizing that everyone wasn't doing it, and being able to
Hmm.
give you guys that value to understand it's not just about having that. It's like you said, you're now you feel more confident because you know more than them, and you're telling them just enough that they need. You don't go over like, oh, this is everything I learned, but giving them that
Hmm.
information to where they're like, okay, I'm responsible now. I got to know, I got to put cuticle oil on. I got to make sure that I'm doing this when I wash my, so I think that is highly key. And many people miss that, and or they don't. Well, let me ask this question, because of course I know distance education was a little bit more expensive because of the luxury or whatever, but as the school, if you was to put a value on it, and was it worth what you paid, is that, or if you was to put a value on everything that you did or
Oh,
received?
100%. I feel as though what I paid for is what I received. I know I personally did a lot of comparison before I even signed up for BGM, even locally. And what did they have to offer? What did BGM have to offer? And tenfold, like it actually truly means a lot whenever I say I'm a nail scientist, not a nail technician, because there's so much more in depth to it that other schools for me around here did not offer, that I'm proud to give this kind of info because there's nothing like that around here. And that's where I feel like kind of takes stride of the comparison between me as a nail scientist compared to the local nail tech around here. So
For
that's where
sure.
I like to do that.
I completely agree, because that is like, first of all, we're trademarked, which
Yes.
which which does mean a lot, because I love science, but understanding that science is the base knowledge. Like you're willing to take
Hmm.
what you do that much further because we care about what we do and the people who we're doing it for. And I've stressed before, like we're in a service business. And I love being in a service. I love providing this service for them. And what always made me successful is my clients knew I actually love doing this service. Like I love being a, a servant, like a servant of God. And that has always, they seen the love that I had for it. And that just made them that much more excited to get it versus, oh my God, here you come. Because trust me, believe, there used to be times I'd have clients that are like, I don't want to be bothered, but I love the service more than the
Yep.
client. So I was like, okay,
Yep.
I'm doing this service regardless. So I think that's great. If you was to tell like a current nail scientist who is here, and maybe they don't take notes, maybe they're coming to BGM because of the hype per se.
Hmm.
They don't really, they don't know. They're like, because people do chase names, and granted they do, but maybe they're like, what, I'm gonna come there because the reviews look good, and the reviews may be true. But like if you was to give some advice or suggestions to scientists, like what would you tell them to do in order to literally get what they need to get from, like, we can deliver it, but you got it, like you took it in, like you took in everything. Like what advice could you give them to make sure that they get what they're paying for?
Absolutely. Well, I feel like it's how are you going to separate yourself from others to be that lucrative type of service? Like, how in depth are you wanting? Because, like you said, you're only going to get out of it as much as you put into it. And I feel like if you're going to put your energy into something instead of, in lack of better words, half-ass, if you put it all your energy, your time, and you believe in it, and it's all in, the taking notes is the little thing, because you might think you know it all, but there might be this one little part that really puts the whole piece of the puzzle together, and you might have just missed that. So like retaining and like gathering all that knowledge to see the bigger picture for me was what I feel like helped. Like I could go back to those notes. I could go be confident and look at this like, no, I took notes over this. Like I try to ask those questions to get it because I don't want to be mediocre. I want to stand out. I want to retain all of that. So how am I going to put myself ahead before it comes? Like, do I want to be prepared or do I got to get ready to, do it?
Do it. For sure. So what is your expertise? Like, what did you end up specializing in? What do you like to do best within nails?
Definitely gel. I have a love-hate for acrylic, but I still practice on the side. I try to make sure that that's always going to be a thing I could fall back on, but definitely all types of gels, whether it be hard gel, soft gel. I definitely do poly gel. I like the way that I can manipulate it, the consistency of it, and then the durability of it, me personally. And I love to do nail art. So that's something that I try to push more, even try to get people and girls out their comfort zone to be like, I just want this plain color. Well, I'm on why don't we do a little razzle dazzle and add this little gem in it? Do you like that? So that's kind of where I'm at with that is gels, nail arts, kind of give me something to throw out to challenge me.
So is gel something popular in your demographics?
So it's not, but what I've been finding out is the durability of it. Because where I'm from, a lot of them are chop shops and they use acrylics that aren't legal. And so a lot of girls will ask me like, why are my nails only lasting like this long? And it's really not more than like a couple of weeks. Me personally, even from like I said, my prep work to application, I found the retention for me to be longer lasting, 3 to 4 weeks if it's done right, and how they take care of their nails, that kind of thing. And I like it just because it kind of seems more natural to your nail, but that flexibility is what I like with it, even with my own nails. Like my own nails will last if I let them go about like 4 weeks, like 5 weeks.
Good.
So yeah. So I like it, me personally.
That's good. That's real good. And then I know you said you are artistic. What is like your best kind of nail art, or what do you look for? Is it 3D? Is like what do you like most about the art part that you do?
Ooh, that's hard. I think it just depends on the day.
Okay.
I like to do a lot of like 3D flowers. So that's when I'll bring like the acrylics out, because that's easier, best for me. The different color flowers. I do like a lot of layered artwork. I would like to say that. I think that's where I kind of look for. Like I have some that are like reflective glitter, the cat eye gel, and then doing prints on top of them. Or we get the marble effect and it's not just put the blooming gel on. It's layered, it has some depth to it. That's what.
Okay, that's real good. So once you get your spot, what's next? So I know the goal is to get your location and get it ready, your brick and mortar. What's next for Hailey?
Definitely I want to leave my part-time but full-time job. That's during the day. I go in, from 6, 7 a.m. and I get off at 2. It's decent. And then at nighttime from, 5 o'clock till whenever someone needs it, doing nails. But I really want to transition to do that full time because I know I can. That's where I'm looking at. And, I may want a business partner in that aspect that will also help and bring in some extra money. Because I know I can't do it all. I'm not a one-stop shop, but, I think some teamwork makes the dream work.
Sure, for sure. I think that's a really good idea to have somebody to come in. I know I had talked about scaling, your business, and that is, and one of the things when I went live today, when I said scaling your business is hiring somebody. So even getting some extra help, that is, that leaves, once again, more revenue, but also it leaves time for you to not have to do everything.
Yeah.
Not to try to do everything. So I think that is really awesome. Well, I didn't want to make this long, but I just wanted to make sure I checked in with you because you were doing great. I still see your posts, and it's important to me because when I look and I know the scientists, and I tell the scientists, you know, I'm like, I can tell the ones who paid attention in class. I can tell the ones who listened and follow through. Those are the ones that I see them posting. I see them having, you know, clients, and I think that is great. There is one more question I wanted to ask. Have you, and if you have, what did you do? Like, what kind of continuing education, even if it's just somebody on YouTube that you follow that can continue to help you? Because I still, like, I encourage that, like, you gotta, school is so much, but you still gotta, like you even said, you still practice acrylics. So what are some ways you're continuing to improve yourself beyond school?
Absolutely. No, I think, gosh, I try to make sure I'm like on my toes and kind of get good ideas about even just different styles of different people. You know, I watch YouTube a lot of different like influencers of just how their applications are. You know, listen to a lot of different podcasts of just like, you know, your business practices, those kind of things. I try to make sure that I'm well diverse in what I'm doing and how I'm visualizing it. I'm such a visual learner and listener that I kind of need those to still up my game. I may not be doing nails because there's, you know, points in time where it's slow, but I still want to watch and engage, like to make sure I'm learning, to make sure like, you know, trends and stuff like that, how to do something before someone even sits in my chair, because I'm still trying to practice that as well.
That's wonderful. That is a really good point that you put, just a well-versed all around. You're a business person. And I know, like I've always said, you know, doing nails is the easy part. That's absolutely,
yeah.
but knowing how to run your business, and you made a point, podcast, making sure you're ahead of the game when somebody sits in your chair and they're like, you know, I want cat eye, and you're not looking like, what is a cat eye? You're ahead of the trends, because we know people are trendy. And I think that is a great point that I need to make with them, is to stay on top of trends. So that way, when a client comes to you, you look like that professional and already know, you know, you just taught me something to make sure I can teach it to them as well. I mean, but it is important. And I truly enjoy it. I'm definitely not only going to share this on our YouTube channel, so make sure people subscribe, but I'm going to make sure the scientists watch this as well, because it is important to always be able to hear from someone who has went through it and is doing it. I'm so proud of you. I will continue to tag me. I will share it. I try to remember, so just make sure you continue to tag me in any post. I'm always
absolutely, coach.
Continue to support you whichever way I can. But like I tell people, I can't see it, I can't share it, because you know, I still handle my Instagram page.
Yep. And every time someone sits on my chair, one of these bad boys are on too. So it's always that, like the licenses in the back. I have your business cards. Like you know, it's representing the brand too of where it started from. Like I didn't, you know, Chanel's didn't become a thing without BGM, really.
Well, we appreciate you, and I'm so happy to have you as our scientist.
Thanks, Coach, and all your knowledge, and thank you so much for your time.
Welcome, Hailey. Thank you. You have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Bye-bye.